Thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you to the Chancellor, the esteemed Chancellor, Covenant University, Bishop David Oyedepo. Thank you to the Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, and the organizing committee of the Covenant International Conference on African Development Issues. I'm John Obidi, and today I'm going to be delivering this quick presentation on digital technologies for the new African economy. This is a small part of my signature talk on skills of the new economy, which I have been giving throughout this pandemic period. It's usually an hour long, but in the interest of time, I will be shortening this and giving you the best parts of it. First off, what is the foundation of the new African economy? The foundation of the new African economy is infrastructure. And what do I mean? There is a difference in the way an average first world native sees the internet versus the way an average third world native sees the internet. We cannot omit the importance of infrastructure in the way we engage technology, and I'm going to explain this. Now, how does an average first world native see the internet versus how does an average African in the developing world see the internet? Now, this is how we see the internet, all right? Infrastructural realities govern our use of digital technologies. I'll say that again. Infrastructural realities govern our use of digital technologies. And right there on the screen is a bottle of water that is almost more than half gone. And this is how the average African youth, with the exception of a few countries, sees the internet as a consumable resource. So you have an average African youth or a Nigerian youth that says, I have 2 gigabytes of data, I've got 3 gigabytes of data, I've got 4 gigabytes of data. When we engage with the internet with that mentality of scarcity or something that can be consumed until it is gone, it will limit the amount of technological contributions that we can make on the global scale. Now, that's the way that our people see the internet due to our infrastructural reality. What is the infrastructural reality of the first world? They do not have a concept of scarcity. While we see the internet as a consumable resource, to them, they see the internet as a highway. And on that highway, you can transport goods, services, and people. They don't know the meaning of we have 2 gigabytes left or 4 gigabytes left. They don't know the meaning of that. A lot of them don't even know how to measure their internet speeds. These are things that we have just had to learn in the developing world. And so when they're not shackled with those realities, their contribution to the global collective can be richer. I know we make a lot of lip service to some technologies like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on and so forth. But we need to realize that these are data-intensive technologies. And until we can come to par with, we can be at par with the infrastructural realities of first world nations, our contribution will be limited. So what is the solution? My solution is for we as Africans, which I've been preaching for a long time, we as Africans to invest in our personal infrastructure while the collective is evolving and developing for the better. And so we do not need to wait until things get collectively improved. We all, as stakeholders and producers and contributors to the global economy, must of a necessity invest in our personal infrastructure. And that is how we can switch from a consumption mindset to a production mindset. And so when our people have been able to invest in our personal infrastructure, by that I mean internet, unlimited access to high-speed internet and unlimited and stable electricity, we will not be limited to consuming content from blogs or from music websites or from streaming services. We will start to think about how we can contribute because we are no longer shackled by the limits that our infrastructure collectively places upon us. And so we must switch from consumption to production by investing in our personal infrastructure. And so now let us imagine, for those of us who have been able to invest in our personal infrastructure and are not shackled by limited data or low-speed internet, what is the production ability we will have? How can we start to produce for consumers? Now, I want you guys to look at this slide and see what we have on the screen. It is a highway. And on that highway, that is the way the first world native sees the internet, and the way we as Africans of a necessity must see the internet. It is a highway on which we can transport goods and services and people. I, John Obidi, I'm right now being transported on this highway to you in all your offices, auditoriums, and living rooms. And people can be transported. We are all being transported on this highway, but that's not the only thing going on. Whilst we are being transported on this highway, there are things being built to the left and to the right of that highway. There are educational institutions being built. For example, we have Udemy and Coursera and Udacity and Skillshare and so on. Those are the things that they are building, and those are the things that we need to see ourselves as stakeholders in, not as consumers alone, but as producers, because of how we now see the internet. What else exists to the left and to the right of that highway? We've got entertainment. So we have the Netflixes, we've got all the streaming services coming to play, because they're like, people who stop on this highway, they're going to want to watch television, maybe they want to listen to some music. Let's build infrastructure. Let's build a Netflix, let's build a Spotify, let's build an Apple Music. And that is what we need to be looking into. And so there's fashion, and there's software, and there's social networking services. This is what we need to be looking at. And so I'm not talking about here the apps that we can use that will enable us to be better consumers. No, I'm talking about the mindset and the infrastructure and the worldview that will enable us to become stakeholders of the global economy. It annoys me when a lot of people say things like Africa rising and Africa rising. And when you look at the Africa rising rhetoric, people who say this mainly see Africa rising as consumer rising, Africa as a market. No, I refuse to allow us to see ourselves as a market for what another group of people are producing. We must switch to productivity and become true stakeholders and stop being a dumping ground for what other people are producing. We can never get rich by consuming. We have to become producers. And so we must start producing for the global consumers in terms of education, entertainment, fashion, software, social networking. And this will happen once we've been able to rid ourselves of the infrastructural limitations that is placed upon us by this environment. And so what are the fundamental skills of the new economy? I just talked about what we can produce, but so what are the fundamental skills of the new economy that can enable us to become producers? Number one, right there on the screen, is internet real estate. Internet real estate. And so what is internet real estate? Every single African should know how to buy a simple domain. Every single African should know how to set up a simple website. Gone are the days where we used to say that this is for the programmers or the web developers or the digital marketers. No, if you can write and you can read and you can breathe air and you can eat, what is the next step? You should be able to set up a website. That is the new reality. Internet real estate. Another side of internet real estate is to be able to create things like mobile apps. All right, that is a part of internet real estate. What else? Digital advertising. Why do I talk about digital advertising as a fundamental skill? Please get this. It is a fundamental skill. It is no more a specialized skill. It is a fundamental skill that is necessary to our survival. And so why do I talk about digital advertising as a fundamental skill? Because he who controls the attention controls the money. I'll say that again. He who controls the attention controls the money. And so digital advertising empowers you to be able to control eyeballs and then direct those eyeballs towards any idea, any product, or any service. And there's a lot of information on the internet as to how you can learn how to use these tools. Google has technologies like that. Google AdWords, learn how to use Google to drive attention towards any idea, towards any piece of knowledge, towards any product or service. Facebook is another kingpin of the digital advertising space. And they even have free courses and videos that everyone can use to learn. But we have to start thinking about this as a fundamental need. And then e-commerce. We have this period of the pandemic where a lot of brick and mortar stores were facing challenges. And so only those who were able to switch to e-commerce earlier were able to survive. And so this COVID-19 pandemic has made it evident to a lot of people that this is a change that should have happened a long time ago. And so everyone who is in business, we need to stop dumbing down the realities. We have to come up. We have to ascend that mountain. E-commerce is here to stay. It is a reality. This is something that everybody should be able to learn. So how can I exchange goods and services online, receive payments online, and fulfill those orders online? E-commerce. These are fundamental skills of the new economy. Now, beyond fundamentals, what are critical skills of the new African economy? What are critical skills that will ensure that we are able to renegotiate our place in the League of Nations? Number one is data science. In the world today, the people who own the data own the world. We have seen that in the news lately and in times past. And so we cannot stay out of that conversation. Our people must plug into the knowledge collective and understand the data science, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, robotics, cloud technology. Whenever we say these things, there's a tendency for our people to say, oh, but these are misplaced priorities. We have other problems such as hunger and insecurity. No, we can tackle those things while still engaging with the world, because this is what will ensure that we renegotiate our position. We cannot leave these technologies to be the preserve of the West alone. No, the world belongs to all of us, and we must engage through knowledge. No one gives you power through pity. You get power by negotiating your relevance. And these are critical skills of the new economy that we must empower our people with. I could go on and on, but let me end with this. The world is now flat. And so your realities are not the realities of your local government. No, you are not going to be judged by your local realities. You will be judged by global expectations. The world is now flat. We must renegotiate our relevance in the League of Nations. We must renegotiate our relevance, engage the world through our ability to produce for the global needs of the future. And I believe that this is what Jesus Christ said when he said, you are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. And so we need to stop being the light of our kitchen cabinets and start becoming the light of the world. We need to stop being the salt of our own pot of stew or pot of soup and become the salt of the earth. Thank you.